Good evening, everyone. It's June 5th, 7 p.m., and I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the District of Sechelt. I'd like to acknowledge that we are conducting this meeting tonight on the traditional and unceded territory of the Sechelt Nation, for which we are very grateful. I'd like to also acknowledge the 80-year anniversary of D-Day, which is tomorrow. And if you haven't had a chance to catch a story or two on some of the veterans that have made their way to France, I encourage you to do so. We have no idea. So I'd like to make sure that everyone has the amended agenda, which has a citing table, page 34 of the agenda, which has been replaced for zoning bylaw 580-13. And can I have this is an intimate group tonight, so there's not going to be much choice. Can I have a motion to move to adopt the agenda? And second, all in favor? Thank you. We have Councillor Bell online from Ottawa. Mayor Henderson sends his regrets. He's in Calgary attending FCN, which is our federal municipality association. And Councillors Inkster and Toth are on their way back from firefighting workshop in Kelowna, and they're in a very, very, very long ferry line. So that's the adoption of the agenda. And now we're going to move to 4.1, Sunshine Coast Pride Month and the District of Sechelt. We have a proclamation. Whereas the District of Sechelt and the Sunshine Coast as a whole has a large, diverse, multi-ethnic, multi-generational 2S LGBTQIA plus, two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, plus queer, intersex, asexual plus community who honor our culture and our histories, which are vibrant and distinct. And whereas traditionally in June, Sunshine Coast Pride Month celebrates 2S LGBTQIA plus people, arts, culture, and recreation, providing opportunities for the whole community to identify and connect with each other. And whereas social, emotional, intellectual, cognitive, and financial factors are key in the disproportionate risk for mental health concerns, including loneliness, anxiety, depression, substance use, addiction, and suicide within the 2S LGBTQIA plus youth population, as whereas Sunshine Coast Pride Month provides vital opportunities for the 2S LGBTQIA plus youth and families to identify and connect with 2S LGBTQIA plus peers and elders, enabling a sense of belonging and helping to mitigate these risk factors, recognizing that strong community saves lives. Now, therefore, Mayor Henderson, on behalf of Council, proclaims the month of June 2024 as Sunshine Coast Pride Month in the District of Sechelt. All right, 4.2 is a delegation from the Sunshine Coast Community Forest to present their operating plan. I will ask anyone in the fine-looking gallery if you are anyone. Nope. So can I have, I guess, a motion to reach out to the Sunshine Coast Community Forest and reschedule? Second? All in favor? Okay, so we are going to move to 5.1, Inlet Avenue Noise Bylaw Variance. And who's speaking to this? Director? Director.
I'll do a brief introduction,
Your
worship. We like to give opportunity to staff to present at council, and Mr. Fetland has been working in the engineering department for 10 years and has taken this opportunity to present his noise bylaw. So I'd like to welcome him to council chambers today.
Welcome. Take it away once you turn your microphone on.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam Chair. Thank you for the introduction, Curran. Tonight, I'd like to give a short presentation on the Inlet Avenue Noise Bylaw Report. I don't have an accompanying presentation. Instead, I'll let the report speak for itself, as there's all the information you'll need can be found inside. As a brief overview, the current bylaw states that no person shall, on Monday to Saturday inclusive, before 7 o'clock or after 2100 hours, or on holidays before 9 a.m. or after 1700 hours, engage in or permit in the construction in such a manner that to create noise. Inlet Avenue is wrapping up and we have the scheduled line painting. In order to minimize disturbance to the residents as well as protect the lines, this work is usually completed in the evenings outside of the noise bylaw. As such, we're asking a variance to the bylaw to accompany these works or accommodate these works. The proposed schedule works are expected to take only a single night to install, but will be occurring after 5 o'clock p.m. The works are not expected to make much noise and will have little to no impact on the nearby residents and businesses. As well as the Legion, which has recently opened. I've already reached out to the members of the Legion and made them aware of these upcoming works and will continue to coordinate the works with them. To accommodate the Legion as well as nearby businesses, the works will be completed in the smaller pieces and moving down the street, so each portion's impact is limited. As such, we are requesting that the noise bylaw 519 is a variance is allowing NB Construction's contractor to complete these works.
Thank you, and I understand it's, we don't know the date for sure, but it would be 1 weeknight as
Yeah.
far, right? Correct?
It should be a 1 weeknight, and unfortunately due to the weather recently, we haven't been able to confirm the night.
Right, of course. Any questions, council? No? Well, is that a mover of the recommendation?
That's a mover.
And a second? Thank you, thank you. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to 5.2 liquor license amendment for 22 Tap House 5770 Torito Road. Who is speaking to this director? Oh, look, they're everywhere. Mr. Hall, go ahead.
Thank you. So we have an application for an amendment to the liquor license. 22 Taps is expanding, doing internal renovations and expanding into the neighboring part of the building. As part of that, they're required to update their license to expand their total capacity. So that's the component that's before council tonight. There's the related component of occupant load calculations, but that is something that the building inspectors deal with directly. It's outside the purview of staff or council to address. We just deal with the total capacity change. So that's what's before council, and we've done the notification as per our bylaw in terms of mail out and newspaper ad to seek comments back on the proposal. And from a staff perspective, we don't have any concerns with the proposed expansion. And the Liquor Control Board requires a council resolution to address the issues that are identified in the staff report in terms of seeking public comment, addressing certain items. And then we basically get council to endorse those recommendations if council decides to do so, and that gets sent back to the province as part of their application review. So.
Right, thank you, Mr. Hall. Any questions from council on this? Councillor Bell, you're good? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. I see that due diligence has been done, you know, speaking to the neighborhood and all the people that need to approve this. So I'm very comfortable with this. Thank you.
All right. Councillor McLaughlin?
Yes, thank you through the chair. I'm in support of this. It doesn't seem like they have like a dance floor or a large music venue associated, so that can be a problem, but it won't be a problem obviously in this case. So I support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Shepherd?
I'll move the three recommendations on page 7.
All right, and a seconder? Councillor Bell, and all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving on to 5.3. So these are recommendations from the Committee of the Whole. Protection of trees on the District of Sechelt or District of Sechelt public lands and fine for unlicensed vehicles. You know what? These two bylaws are,
So
okay.
different.
Is there anything, these are recommendations from Committee of Whole, so we discussed this at Committee of the Whole, and they have come to us to read the bylaws, correct? Okay. Do you still need an endorsement of the recommendations on page 13?
Excuse me, yes, Madam Chair. There's also the matter of rescinding the old policy and formally endorsing the new policy.
Okay. I see.
Mhm.
So the recommendations on page 13 don't include the rescinding.
Page 13 has a 4-part recommendation that staff are recommending be moved as one motion.
Mhm.
So the motion would be, and this is the recommendation from the Committee of the Whole, that Highways and Parking Amendment Bylaw 516-4 be read a second and third time, and that the following amendment bylaws be read a first, second, and third. That's the municipal.
Oh,
ticket
there, I didn't
information
see the
bylaw
rescinded, sorry.
491.4.
Yeah,
The bylaw notice enforcement implementation amendment bylaw 515-14. So those would be read for the first, second, and third, and that the tree cutting and limbing policy 5.3.1 be rescinded, and that the protection of plants and trees on public lands policy 5.3.3 be endorsed.
thank you. I had missed that rescinded word, even though it's staring me in the face. So I will move exactly what the corporate officer just read out.
Second.
All right, all in favor? And opposed?
There's no point. to discuss.
No, well, the discussion happened at Committee of the Whole.
Yeah.
And,
Comment or anything?
okay, well, we can't, I guess, sure, yep, go ahead.
Thank you through the chair. I'm hoping to perhaps review this in a year because I started talking to people and thinking about it and thinking the same penalty for taking out a majestic 200-year-old tree is the same as pulling out one flower, $1,000 max kind of thing. So, and I'm not sure $1,000 is really a sufficient will deter people from trying to obtain a water view, which I think sometimes is a reason why people would unlawfully remove trees on civic land. So something to think about, consider.
Mhm.
This is a good improvement, but I'd like to find out in a year if it's been successful, if it's hard enough, perhaps higher fines or some kind of notice on title or something is required if it's not taken very seriously. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? All right, all in favor? And that's carried. So now we will go to the bylaws. Okay, so in no particular order. Bylaw number 516-4, 2024, a bylaw to amend highways and parking bylaw number 516, 2012. And we are reading this. Can I have a motion to read it for a second time? Second? Oh, we can do it at the same time? Okay, this is something new. I have a motion to read this for a second and third time. And second? And all in favor? Okay, bylaw 491-4, 2024, a bylaw to amend the municipal ticket information bylaw number 491, 2010. And if I can have a motion to read this for a first, second, and third time? And second? And all in favor? And bylaw 515-14, 2024, a bylaw to amend the District of Sechelt bylaw notice enforcement implementation bylaw number 515, 2012. And this is for reading or for first, second, and third reading. Second, all in favor? Holy. Well, done. So that will take us to 6.2 zoning bylaw amendment for small scale multi-unit housing. And I look to Director Allen, seeing no other faces on the screen.
You bet. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is to amend the zoning bylaw and to amend the terms within the R2 zone, the R3 zone, and the R4 zone of zoning bylaw 580 to implement the provincial small-scale multi-unit housing program where we are obliged to provide zoning that allows up to 4 units within areas in our urban containment boundary and serviced by sewer and by water. And so council may recall, I provided a report for information in December of last year when we found out about this, as well as April, seeking direction to draft the bylaws as proposed here. Noting there was a small error in our final product for the R2 zone, and we have an amended agenda to ensure the setback tables for all 3 are the same. But a brief summary of the zoning is it's included in the R2 broadly, but the R2 zone does include areas within West Sechelt and West Porpoise Bay that are not presently serviced by sewer. Although it's implied that you have to have full servicing to meet the full requirements of the zoning bylaw, we proposed a notation within the R2 zone to make it clear to property owners why some properties would benefit from the 4 dwellings while other properties would not. The R3 zone is primarily existing small lot subdivisions, primarily Bearland Strata subdivisions such as Tyler Heights. And then the R4 zone, there's a couple of R4 properties or properties zoned R4 in West Sechelt. The R4 primarily pertains to from Mermaid through up to Ebbtide in the downtown village area. And so again, these are the areas that we are obliged to create zoning opportunities for, and it is an enhancement to zoning bylaw 580, but zoning bylaw 580 for the R4 zone, for example, previously permitted 3 dwellings. So it's adding 1 more dwelling unit, but it's also adding a more diversity to the types of dwelling allowances, duplexes with suites, triplexes, or what the provincial guideline refers to as cottage courts, which could be inferred as 4 small detached dwellings on 1 single property. You can imagine perhaps that occurring in one of our downtown properties. They would have to be quite small to do that. There are regulations pertaining to reduced setbacks, increased height for these multi-unit buildings from 8.5 meters to 11 meters. Single family dwelling height remains at 8.5 meters. And then setbacks have adjusted primarily from 5 meters to 3 meters would be the big notable difference for front rear yard lines. Some of the notable parts, servicing, as I mentioned, still required. In some cases, property owners may have to prove that they have the capacity and the flow for water and for sewer. BC building code still applies. So when you get anything beyond duplex with suites, when you get into triplex, fourplex, et cetera, the criteria within the building code is much more stringent for fire separations and other factors. But nonetheless, the zoning will be changing. So under the legislation as it's been unfolding and noted in the staff report, we are expressly not permitted to hold a public hearing. We did have information meeting at our Complete Communities Day last month. So our planning technician brought building blocks with him, and I saw him showing people how the 4 units might work using the building blocks. It was quite a neat little exercise. We now under the regulations would typically give a bylaw 3 readings. And if it's located, any properties are located within 800 meters of the controlled access highway, Highway 101, typically the Ministry of Transportation must approve. But we received a bulletin last week that the Ministry of Transportation will be approving all of these bylaws without needing to expressly approved them, provided that they contain only SHMU related bylaws and are not wrapped into a larger product. For that reason, these bylaws can receive all readings this evening and be adopted and come into a force and be a couple of weeks ahead of the mandated provincial deadline. And so with the amended Schedule A in front of you, Schedule A for R2 zone, Schedule B, and Schedule C, we recommend readings of these bylaws and to amend zoning bylaw 580. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, Councillor McLaughlin?
Yes, thank you through the chair. Just want clarification on page 39 of 104 about the minimum lot area for properties, residential lots in the infill area, which like the downtown you were describing. So that means for subdivision of lots going ahead, because there are some lots that are under 700 meters squared. So they are still legally part of this in terms of being covered by SMU. But of course, they wouldn't be able to be subdivided because they're not big enough.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Any other questions from council? It's interesting that this hot off the presses report really highlights why the provincial government sees this as a need. Anyways, if there's no further questions, well, we haven't even actually called for the recommendations, so yes, Councillor Shepherd.
I'll move the recommendations on page 29, 1 and 2.
Thank you. Any seconders? Okay, all in favor? All right, so we will go to bylaw number 580-13, 2024. Bylaw to amend the District of Sechelt zoning bylaw number 580, 2022. And I'll look to the corporate officer as I say, can I have someone move first, second, third, and adoption all at once? Or do we first, second, and third and then adopt?
The latter, the procedure bylaw allows for up to 3 readings to be, to take place in one motion, and then the adoption would have to be a
Okay.
separate resolution.
So can I have a motion for first, second, and third reading? And a seconder? And all in favor? And would somebody like to move adoption? You're the mover tonight. Seconder and all in favor? Thank you. Okay, 6.3 rezoning application for 5875 Reef Road. Is Mr. Hall, you're up?
Thank you. Yep, so we have the rezoning application for Reef Road here, coming back to council for third reading for the official community plan and zoning amendment bylaws. Nothing really to add. We've held a public hearing, the public hearing report, and it's attached to the staff report. No changes are proposed to either of the bylaws. So the third reading can be given, and then after that, it'd be on the applicant to complete their conditions of rezoning before we would come back to council for considering adoption.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Hall from council on this project? Councillor Bell from Ottawa.
Yes, hi. Through the chair, I'm just wondering, there is some communication that came in from one of our residents and that spent some good time on this and has some recommendations around Reef Road. And certainly some concerns as well. I think it was quite well outlined. I'm just wondering how we, what the process is for considering any of these in the future, or at least to acknowledge that these are a concern and that we might want to have a look at these in the future. And thank you to the resident, Ms. Tyson, for sending in this information.
Hey, Mr. Hall, do you want to respond to that?
Sure. I mean, I guess part of it is, as we progress to development permit and more detailed stages. Obviously, we get more into the engineering requirements, looking in particular at detailed design for, Reef Road, and related infrastructure, as well as, the detailed engineering for the site itself, in terms of roads, drainage, and other services. So that will provide one avenue to address some of the issues. At the rezoning stage, we certainly consider preliminary servicing and related issues, but it's only until we get more into development permit and closer to that more detailed design stage that we really nail down like what is required and how we can address some of these things in more detail. So that would be one way to address some of those concerns.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any other questions, council? Yep, go ahead, Councillor Shepherd.
No, there was, I noted from the public hearing that there was no one speaking against the project, so we've heard the material before. I've supported it in an earlier vote, so I'll move the recommendations on page 41.
Okay, can I have a second for that? And all in favor? And opposed? Councillor McLaughlin opposed. All right, so we'll move to the bylaw. I've got the right one here. District of Sechelt bylaw 580-08, 2023, 5875 Reef Road, a bylaw to amend the District of Sechelt zoning bylaw number 580, 2022 for 5875 Reef Road. And this is for third reading. Can I have a mover for third, please? And a second, and all in favor? And opposed? And Councillor McLaughlin. Thank you. Okay, well, let's go to 6.4, rezoning application for 5700 East Purpose
Sorry,
Bay.
Madam Chair,
So-
the zoning bylaw.
Stop. Where did this
Page
zoning bylaw
62.
go?
Page 62, is that correct?
Yep.
Yep.
I was almost almost there. District of Sechelt bylaw 5808 2023 5875 Reef Road, a bylaw to amend District of Sechelt zoning bylaw number 580 2022 for 5875 Reef Road. And this is for third reading as well. Can I have a mover for third and a second? And all in favor? And opposed? Councillor McLaughlin opposed. That carries. Now we'll go to 6.4, rezoning for 5700 East Purpose Bay Road. And back to Mr. Hall.
Thank you again. Similar spiel here, the OCP and zoning amendment bylaws back for third reading. Public hearing report attached. No changes proposed. And similarly, before we bring it back to council for considering adoption of the bylaws, there'd be the rezoning conditions for the applicant to meet. But otherwise, everything is ready for third reading for this particular application because it is closer into the highway. It does require Ministry of Transportation approval after council gives it third reading. And that'll happen as part of the work for them to meet their other rezoning conditions.
Thank you. Any questions from council on this project? Nope. All right, I'll look for someone to move the recommendations on page 65. Councillor Shepherd, seconded by Councillor Bell. All in favor? And opposed? Councillor McLaughlin's opposed. That carries. Now we move to the bylaw number 49234, 2023, a bylaw to amend District of Sechelt official community plan 492, 2010. And this is for third reading. Can I have a mover for third reading, please, and a second? And all in favor? And opposed? Councillor McLaughlin's opposed. That carries. District of Sechelt bylaw 580-07, 23, a bylaw to amend District of Sechelt zoning bylaw number 580, 2022. I'll look for a mover for third reading and a second, and all in favor and opposed. Counselor McLaughlin. All right, if I have it right, corporate officer, we're on minute approval. Oh, God. Okay, minutes of minutes of May 22nd, regular council meeting for adoption. Any concerns? No. Somebody like to move adoption of May 22nd and second, all in favor? Minutes of the committee of the whole for May 22nd as well. Thank you. Second. All in favor? May 15th minutes for the regular council meeting. Any concerns? Sorry. Okay, somebody want to move it? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Donna. Sorry,
Yeah,
Councilor Bell.
Yeah, that's no problem. Just on page 84, I know that I'm not sure if we have it clear as to who is the liaison for the SDBA. I just might request that that's clarified at some point.
That is in progress. I can tell you that that's.
Okay.
in progress. Yep.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. But the minutes are what was, are reflective of what was said at that meeting. There's needs to be some clarity. Okay, so can move adoption for May 15th, regular council meeting. Second, all in favor? Council meeting, regular council meeting, May 8th. Minutes, any concerns? Thank you. And a second? All in favor? May 8th, committee of the whole meeting. Any concerns? Oh. Thank you. Second? All in favor? Just check with the corporate officer that we got all those minutes. We're good? And well, I will table 9.1 because they're in a ferry lineup. And we'll do council reports, and maybe I'll start with Councillor Bell on the on the TV.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm just, yeah, gosh, I'm in Ottawa, as, and, have been attending some of the Parliament meetings, and, interesting that certainly the discussion is very much still around affordable housing, and that continues to come to the table at all levels. So we will continue to have one more day of meetings, and then I'll be home. I'd like to report on another meeting that I attended, but I would like to do that at the next council meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Safe travels. And
Thank you.
Councillor Shepherd.
I've been attending a series of meetings on the Sunshine Coast Regional Economic Development Agency or organization. I'd like to bring that to the next meeting as well.
Okay. Perfect.
And that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you. May 25th, Hackett Park, I attended the event for World Hunger Day. Sadly, I don't think it was very well attended. Maybe it was the weather. Maybe it was the fact that there was a surprise announcement that the Legion was open, and all kinds of activities going on that weekend. So, anyway, they did, collect some food for the food bank, and of course, they're always happy to receive more donations in that regard. Thank you.
Just a quick report from myself. We've been having meetings with a small group looking at our permissive tax bylaw. So we had one of those. I attended the Pride flag raising on last Friday. And yes, the other day I attended the Sunshine Coast Community Foundation release of the Vital Signs report, which hasn't been done for 10 years and has all sorts of really great information in it about the Sunshine Coast and how it's, in what ways it has changed and grown in the last 10 years. It's available online, and I'd encourage anybody to check it out. And I did bring a paper copy for all the counselors. I could only steal 8 without them really noticing. All right, correspondence. So in our agenda, we have this letter from UBCM with regards to the upcoming convention in September and our need to decide which ministers we would like to speak with. And so I think this really is for our information, and our EA has been in touch with us about deciding as a group who we want to reach out to. So we need to get that accomplished in the next few days. I think you're not looking for anything specifically here when there's just us here, right? This is just for information.
If council wanted to make a resolution, they would have the option to do that, but it's not required. I believe the deadline is June 21st.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of providing enough time to prepare the background information needed to submit the requests.
I endeavor to have that answer in the next couple days. We've got to decide. All right. Any release of items from closed meeting? Any emergency items, acting CAO?
No emergency items.
All right, motion to adjourn. And second? Night, Donna, all in favor?